Now, our question today is God at odds with science? And the answer to that is no. But you will find that science is at odds with God in most cases. Not every scientist is at odds with God, but there are some scientists who stand with God because they understand that God is the ultimate creator. Because the truth of the matter is, science have an issue with the fact that they don't know what they don't know. And what they do know, they're overly confident about. And what they don't know, they're still discovering. So science is still at a baby stage when it comes to the overall scheme of the entire universe and how it came to be. So the truth of the matter is, science has to spend more time understanding that even though you know a lot, you don't know everything. And as time passes and you study more, you realize that whatever the Bible has stated, whatever God has unveiled to us, becomes now things that later on science is starting to back those things. So truth of the matter for us now is that as believers, we have an advantage because we know information and have confidence behind the truth before a scientist oftentimes can come to that same realization, because they have to wait to see something in order for it to happen. But God will share something with us and we can believe it because He is the creator. Because the truth now is, for science study what has already been created. That means that it needed the creator first in order for you to have something to study. Even in their experiments and the extension of the experiments that they have is about things that have already existed that they do experiments with in order to create new things or to manipulate things or to imitate things. So for us, we have to understand that God has no issue with science. Science has to work out their issue with God, though, to realize that you don't know what you don't know. And I do understand that the philosophy of science is you have to research, and out of what you see and what you discover, you start to believe. When God asks us to believe based on His authority through trust. So I do understand the principal difference in both. But the truth now for us, and even for science, is that they have to understand that even though your philosophy is when you actually find evidence, you believe off of the evidence, you have to realize that the evidence, regardless of you discovering it or not, is still there, and we're still actively having the life experiences with the things that you're discovering. So that being said, that means that you have to or should give authority to now the authority that created it until you can find definite evidence that this authority doesn't. But science cannot tell you that God didn't create it. They can tell you how God created it and then have a different definition for it. So God is not at odds with science. Science just needs to spend the time to know that they need to work out their issue with God because they're discovering what God has already created. Now, before I leave, I want to share with you a scripture that really resonates with this, and that's 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. And it says, Timothy, guard what has been entrusted to your care. Turn away from the godless chatter and the opposing idea of what is falsely called knowledge. So science is predominantly knowledge-based, and that's why they struggle. But we are faith-based that also acquire knowledge. So it's about faith to acquire knowledge, while science acquire knowledge in order to have faith, or aka belief. But God doesn't have an issue with science, so you shouldn't either. Just know that what God is telling you is the facts and the truth, and we're waiting for our scientists to get to the stage, at one stage in our lives, our generation, to discover what God already declared to us is true. So stand on the truth and live by the truth, not by the science only, unless it reflects the truth of what God is saying.